Yes, this is the other one I haven't colored yet. Wait. I can't.
Look, there you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh my god, that's so many dice. Oh.
That's my other one. It's just not colored. So.
Ow.
Very, very rad. Hey,
Yo,
we've got a
there's,
party.
I draw a sword.
it's a party.
Eventually,
I have a new Velis dice
Nice.
set, but when I test rolled it, my first 2 rolls were 2 natural ones, so I don't trust this.
I'll just make it easy.
Appropriate?
Yeah, so the question is, were you rolling in sunlight because you get disadvantaged?
Oh!
So you got to make sure you're rolling it at nighttime.
Okay. We'll see how it goes then.
Additional knowledge acquired.
The nighttime
That's
is the right
amazing.
time.
Well, that's enough.
I take out one of my dice and I'm like, let's roll it. It's a natural one.
Hey, Bess, before you guys joined, I had an instance where I rolled 2 natural ones in a row. And which is, pretty much the only way that I can roll a natural one because
I remember that.
Yeah.
I honestly get so
Really nice?
I also got the Black Borealis.
Nice.
Yes.
And then I rolled
have
a
those.
really
Very
good deck
pretty.
save.
Borealis before. I have. Which one's Borealis? Is that the sparkly one?
Those sparkly,
Yeah.
the pearly ones.
My moon. My
However-
moonbeam. My moonbeam dice. Not that you can see it because I'm blocking the light. out. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, they're very.
So
Hey, Matt,
this,
thanks.
Actually, both my moonbeam dice are Borealis. I'm pretty sure.
my Borealis were supposedly new, but they're a little bit scuffed, and there's a couple scratches on the D20, so I'm rather irritated about that.
I mean,
But they're very
sometimes-
pretty. A little bit
I don't know if I've ever
scuffed,
seen
and
like
there's a
scratches, but I have some with like some random like paint flecks in spots.
Yeah.
If I can find,
You know, mass production dice things.
if I can find the D8. The D8 was the worst.
Oh, I need to get my notebook.
Probably a good
always
idea.
leave that downstairs.
Actually, yeah, it does look like paint flecks now that I'm looking at it more closely, but it's also definitely got some scratches. I have so many dice; they're really difficult to sort.
Yeah, I have,
A dice bag like a jewelry pouch with little pockets.
Yeah, my baby.
I just have this. I just have that.
I haven't finished it. That's a lot of dice.
That's a lot of dice!
My babies.
Okay, hold on.
I have my bag of dice, but then I have my 3 nice sets of dice.
Keep my Borealis in the bottom.
I'm like,
I want nice dice.
And Cortana dice in the bottom.
here we go.
I mean, at this
I'm
point,
like
I'm
trying
only.
to figure out where the camera is framed.
This is the one you got, right, Kristen? The smoke Borealis?
Hey, yeah, it's the smoke. There we go.
So good.
That's my dice pile. Wait, I'm
Oh,
missing
nice.
some.
Yes,
Hold on.
good.
Hold on.
So shiny.
Let's add those.
And I was like, wait.
Roll into oblivion, shiny and chrome.
Okay, now that I've reloaded it tells me. I was like, wait, is Kristen actually in this in roll 20?
But because if
Yes!
Yeah, but now you're
I
gone.
was showing off my
Well,
massive dice collection.
There
Maybe.
you are.
Oh, so now I have to flip boss again.
yeah, and then if somebody else joins, they'll be behind.
Also, side note for Jerusha.
Yes.
I had the realization that the perfect
know, I
alpha
love
dice
it.
would be the opalite ones,
yeah.
but I don't know if I could justify spending the money, but how perfect would those be for Alva?
They would be really good. I
Yeah.
bought mine on Mass Drop
Mm-hmm.
because they had a good deal where they were enough cheaper than the normal price. And Mass Drop is hit or miss with their deals, right? Sometimes their deals are like you save nothing, but when they're good. And so I got them there. That's the only reason I bought them. I've been wanting them since I saw them, and I was like, I want them, and then they popped
if
up
I
like
find
they're
a good-
mine.
If I find a good deal on them, I will probably get them because they are the most Alva dice I can possibly think of.
Yeah.
What is this?
So
The opalite.
it's sort of hard to show over the screen, but they're
Yeah.
they're
Beautiful.
They're
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Where'd you get them though?
On a site called Massdrop, which does like group orders of things for some sort of discount.
How did you get them not in a group order?
I did get them in a group order,
Wow.
but I was. They do a group order, then they ship to you. That it's not like you need like 10 people. You don't need to get like 10 people together yourself. They facilitate the group order.
10 sets of dice?
What?
You just need to buy 10 sets of dice?
No.
Okay.
They facilitate the group order. So you do the order through Massdrop, and then they get the discount from the people who sell them. Does that make sense?
Basically, you never talk to the other people who make the group order.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's literally just a third party, like
Right.
they buy.
It's kind of like
Sort
that
of
thing that
is.
Wish does.
It's sort of like that, though. They only do specific things, and so they negotiate specific deals. And sometimes the deals are really good. Sometimes the deals aren't so good. This time, when I got those opalite dice, the deal was quite good, and so it was worth buying them because I couldn't get them anywhere close to that cheap normally, and I wanted them.
This shall be the Velas set right here.
That's also how I
So
got
shiny.
these fun metal dice, is from the same thing.
Nice. I'll have to check into that because I would like to get some.
Yeah. As I said,
Okay.
their deals are hit or miss, but when they're nice, when the deal's nice, it's good.
Way to throw a dice at me.
So is there anyone here who wasn't here last week? I think we're all here last
I
week,
think
yes?
we were all here.
We're
I
just
think
missing
we
you,
were.
Maggie. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you have to have an account on this website? Sorry. I'm just like,
Yes, you do.
that's annoying.
Oh,
It is.
okay.
I know.
I was like, don't you have
Sorry,
an account if
not
you're already
bad.
logged into Roll20? I'm so confused.
Yeah, no, you do. It is annoying. I signed up because there was something I was specifically looking at, but so now I have an account, so it's easy. But
Mhm. I'm gonna need to use a new splash thing instead of Fandolin because
we're no longer in Fandolin.
yeah, you're no longer in Fandolin.
Hi, Fandolin.
Fandolin anymore.
Yeah. Maybe I'll go grab my my incarnate Wildmount map, or at least Western Wildmount.
I bought these for my new sorcerer, but I feel like they're not blue enough, and so now they're just going to be another set of Velas dice.
Oh, you're gonna need more D6s eventually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have.
All the D6s.
I'm good for if I can
while.
do this in a way that it's going to show. I'm good for a few levels, and that's not counting the tiny one.
Which
Right.
just reminds me of Laura's complete horror when she realized that Sam only had one set of dice.
I know.
Which is honestly impressive that I'm like, how do you just have one? Like, I understand
know.
not having a Laura supply, but I'm like, but one? Like,
Right.
I mean, Laura's supply is pretty
you always need like at least two, I feel like, of something.
yeah.
It's like once you
Right.
pop, you just can't stop.
Yeah, so that's gonna be the new
Maggie, I anticipated my
dice distributor company. I'll start and call it Pringles.
I'm sure the Pringles people won't get at all bothered by that.
Oh no. Well, I'll
Says
use the
the
Ruffle
lawyer.
slogan. I'll use the Ruffle slogan when you can't have just one.
Okay.
I'll use the Pringles company name.
That sounds brilliant.
They'll never know. All right.
I know
So
where to put my notebook.
last time on Wild Times in Wildmount.
Insert music.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. I can do that.
Hold on, I can give you intro music.
We just get
There
the
we go.
intro.
Damn, you have that power.
Okay,
Right,
who
right.
has rainbow suspenders? Let's get on this.
I don't have that.
I have black suspenders for Yu-Gi-Oh.
No, so you had all, after a few days of travel south from Phandalin, relatively uneventful, mostly through a cold northern Wildmount spring rain. Made your way to the main trade road south. Having arrived late in the evening at what amounted to be crossroads in the only civilization for a few days, either east or west, you decided to take shelter from the rain at the halfway inn. Once you got in and dried off, you encountered a number of interesting folk. Had a chat with the halfling proprietor, and listened to the drunken ramblings of what looked to be a Crown's Guard soldier, lieutenant, officer type person.
Piece of shit.
Before sort of making your way upstairs. And we kind of called it right there, right about when sort of an older elf sitting at a table with a much younger male elf and a female elf. He looks old, very wrinkly face, worn features, sort of very, very white, long, loose hair. Both the male and the younger male and female with him seemed to be sort of had been taken by surprise by Cortanus's comment in what seemed like, to any of those of you who don't speak Elvish, sounded just like plain old Elvish. But he seemed to be very surprised, and sort of responded in sort of a very common sort of call response type, very polite hello in Elvish. And both the two younger elves, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell how old an elf is. They're young, and then they're normal, full age, and then they look like that pretty much forever until they get old, and then they look old really fast. And so it's sort of that androgynous, eternal kind of thing.
Why does this not look... Sorry.
But he kind of rises to his feet a little bit, and is still sort of looking straight at you, Cortanus, and he calls something out in Elvish. It's you. Do any of you speak Elvish?
Yeah.
To do? Okay. I was wondering if I should take this into whispers and like have a conversation on the side, or if I just do it.
I'm probably not paying that much attention.
Okay.
I'm also not paying that much
Yeah, they were
attention.
just about heading upstairs at the time. Like, Cortanus was like, oh shit, trying to catch up to,
Okay.
Yeah, Velas is probably gone.
Okay. Yeah, he just sort of
I'm just Elias doesn't try anything at this point.
Yeah, but to make sure Elias doesn't go
I'm just
murder a
like,
crowd.
The last thing I
Right.
remember, like, Elias was just asking if something happened. She was like, I don't think so. I think everything's okay.
right. Okay.
Are they not allowed to be drunk? Bailey's is just really confused as why this is not normal behavior.
What? Wait, what? Why? What's not normal behavior?
The Crown's Guard, I think.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Leaning over to Aiden the whole time going, why is Elias mad? Are they not allowed to be drunk? I'm confused.
Okay, exactly.
Okay, Lise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's very, very unusual behavior.
She doesn't know that.
Right. So the second floor of the inn, it's sort of like this weird, it's all a balcony kind of thing over the second floor with kind of like an actual runway running across the top of the main floor area. And then against the far wall are just a number of doors, presumably to a bunch of different rooms. The common room, however, is up a spiral staircase that's kind of over in the corner, which is where you were all headed. One thing that stands out, I mean, again, much like below, it looks like a lot of the non-humans, non-imperial people vacated either to that far left side of the inn where you walked in or the second floor. But each of the doors is actually distinct. different construction, different material, different decoration, some plain, some elaborate. But each door is visually distinct from the other, that presumably go to all of these particular rooms. As you make your way upstairs to the third floor, you can see that there's a number of similar doors leading to different suites, all of them very different from one another. And then the aforementioned common room, which has a simple plain wooden door that leads you in. It doesn't have a lock on it. You can see there's about 12 bunks of sorts. A few of them are occupied with a few people, two kind of sort of in the far end of the room. They seem deep asleep and snoring. And then there's one a little bit closer to you that looks, whoever it is it's like, it looks, there's a person there, obviously by like the slow rise and fall, but it looks largely like just a big pile of rags. Whatever they're wearing is layers upon layers of cloak or coat or something, but it's pretty worn and tattered. But other than those three people, there doesn't really seem to be anyone else in the common room.
Okay. And it was getting later, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Time to go to bread.
Time to go to
Yes.
bread.
Maybe not time to go to bread, but getting
No. It's definitely they're not quite going to bread yet. But it is late in the evening enough that a number of people have seemed to have turned in already.
Okay. Gloria looks around and everyone says, "Well, that was an interesting speech."
What?
That's
What?
one word for it.
Is this just them? Or this still downstairs with the elves? Just so I know whether
I'm
part of
assuming
this
that you said you caught up with everyone.
She was going to. I wasn't sure if he called out behind her.
That's if you wanted to stop and have a conversation, Elias would stop. If you wanted to stop too, and then the rest of you would go upstairs.
Yeah, she had just paused because Elias asked her a question, but depending on when that elf called from behind, it would depend on that.
Gotcha. Yeah, so Elias paused, asked you a question, and I mean, it was more or less you stopped, had a conversation kind of right near their table, which is where he caught notice of you. So if you're still standing there talking to Elias, then you're still standing there talking to Elias. Or
Yeah, pretty close, yeah.
if Elias had gone upstairs, at this point, since Maggie's not here, Elias can do whatever is narratively convenient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I figured it was just like she was starting to catch up and then he paused noticing that, and then he was like at the edge of the stairs about to head up.
Right. So, is there anything that anyone would like to do?
Taking.
Nundra is also in one of the bunks too. She turned in almost right away.
Taking all my stuff, wrapping it up in the cloak, just for extra security. I'm
Right.
gonna put that like right next to the pillow so that nobody can take it.
Sure. There's small footlockers next to each bed
Okay.
that have it's like a, not exactly like a combination lock, but it's something basic. You could probably pick it with like the remains of whatever you had for dinner, but from casual entry, it would probably suffice. But up to you if you want to use it, or if you're just going to sort of lay on top of all of your belongings, like a pillow.
I'll keep the money on me and put everything else in there.
Okay.
You sure you don't want to toss the money at Weiria?
No, no, no. We're not talking about that ever again.
Hey, they look really similar when it's. Well, I was going to say when it's dim light, but you have no problem with dim light. But really, the thing is, problem with dim light is that it's harder to distinguish color. Darn that dark vision.
This is fair. That's what I get
Always-
for trusting the dice.
Yep. Yeah, where probably would put most of her things in the locker, but she'd keep her instruments on her because she's ridiculous like that. Because someone totally wants to steal her instruments. No, mostly just because she doesn't let them out of her
Sleeping
sight.
curled
for
up
very long.
around like the loot.
Right.
Yep. Blair, yeah. Blair.
The weirdest Dakimakura.
Rooms that were in. Why
We're
are
in
we-
like a dorm room.
Oh.
Yeah, like a hostel type thing.
Yeah, is it an
Gotcha,
enclosed
that's
room?
Hopefully with
Okay.
less murder of Hostel.
What?
Is it an enclosed room?
They were booked up. The only space they had was in the common room.
Yeah, I mean, it's an enclosed room.
Oh yeah, it's enclosed. It actually has a closing door.
Okay,
but it's something that's very
like in an open area on the balcony overlooking.
No. So there's the first floor where all tables and booths and chairs and benches and stuff are, and then there's a staircase that goes up to the second floor, and then like a spiral staircase, kind of like on opposite sides. And then the second floor is largely consists of like a balcony that kind of rings the entire interior, and like a gangway kind of going across. And then on one side are a bunch of doors that lead to rooms. The spiral staircase goes up to a third floor where you have like a common room that's just sort of like one big shared space, and then a number of other like single occupancy type style rooms. And those are all the thing about the common room is that it's in like the weird bend angle of the roof, and so like it's kind of cramped. The ceiling is a little lower than normal, but it's also why it's like still free and also cheap.
Okay.
But that's on the third floor, completely separate from where all that second floor stuff is.
Alright.
Can I take a look over? I don't want to get right up near them, but just kind of glance over at the people who are sharing the room and just kind of get a feel for what they're wearing, what they seem to have around them, if they're shady.
Okay. Go ahead and well, I mean, I don't know if you need to make a perception check just to look over at them. It's not like there's any challenge in that. So two of them look like they're simple traveling clothes. They don't look particularly wealthy or well dressed, but you also don't see like evidence of a lot of weapons or armor. The one with the rags, it's very, very tattered, worn clothes that look like they've been patched and repaired over and over and over again, and some of it's like really threadbare in places. A mishmash of various hues and shades of browns and grays and blacks and kind of just whatever. There doesn't seem to be anything that stands out or is particularly suspicious. The two people in the end, just commoners of sorts. It's the person whoever's under there in all of the rags seems more unusual, but that's mostly just clothing. But you don't specifically like. You can see the other twos at the end. They're human, obviously. You can see their heads and stuff. They've got some blankets and whatnot. Oh, what was that? Right. But the other person is like they're completely covered under whatever blankets and stuff they have. You don't really see any features.
Okay. Human size?
Hard to tell.
Okay.
Smaller, or they're like really curled up.
Okay. Okay. Good enough.
Oh my gosh.
Adorable.
So, I guess
Cameo.
we go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to bread. Let's just go to bread.
Okay.
Bailey's is snoring.
Okay.
Just like
Velas can't sleep because Bailey's is snoring.
Also, I like to think that she occasionally talks in her sleep in gnomish, so it sounds like crazy fast chittering on and off.
Miriam may or may not respond.
Yeah.
just having
Please
sleep
mess with
talk.
her in her sleep and make her say weird things.
Right. No, you totally agreed to it. It's a verbal contract. Okay. At some point late in the evening, I'm assuming that Elias is crashed out on a bunk, like one arm kind of hanging over the side, one leg, like he's crossways instead of like lying down on it because it's Elias.
Face planted.
Right. And Cortanus is probably
Doing your
in-
usual thing, propped up in a corner with both
Yeah.
of her sheaths
Right,
like over
right,
both
right.
shoulders, like that.
So it's probably well past midnight. And I'll go ahead and actually everyone who's sleeping, which is everyone, but Elias, go ahead and get advantage on this because not Elias, Cortanus. Go ahead and get advantage. Just make a Constitution check. Anyone who's currently sleeping.
Oh god.
I actually want to ask.
Sure.
Velas only sleeps 4 hours. Would this be within his 4-hour window or no?
No. You probably would have been awake at this point.
Okay.
Whether or not you're just kind of sort of laying there, or maybe like sitting on your bunk or something like that. But you'd be awake for this. In
Probably
the
only-
sense.
So check or save.
Just a check.
Okay.
Do I need to roll that?
14.
16.
17. 6.
Okay. I'm not sure if a Constitution check is the most appropriate thing. Maybe it would be Perception, but it's just whether or not you sleep through the night, or if you're. I guess it probably would be more of a Perception check, technically. So if you want to make a Perception check, if you rolled really poorly in your Constitution check, go ahead. Anyways, the door.
My
Those of you who
perception
wake
would
up.
be 10, if that makes a
Okay.
difference.
Sure.
Yeah, my perception would be 16 instead of 14.
Right. Oh, there's probably a DC somewhere. The I would say let me make a rule for Elias.
If my 6 becoming a 10 makes a difference, which potentially it might.
Probably
Perception
not.
would be
Not
10,
with a 10.
Constitution would be 6.
Yeah. The door has squeaky hinges. And so those of you who are a little, sort of less zonked or just more naturally alerted to noise and whatnot hear the door open and some shuffling sort of footsteps. It's dark. There's maybe a little bit of partial moonlight filtering in through the one window sort of at the end of the room.
Did you roll for our lives?
I did.
Just making
He's snoring. he rolls over a little bit. But so Velas, Aiden, Cortanus, and I think actually also were you all sort of stir awake. Velas, you're wide awake anyways. Now I think most of you can see in the dark. No, actually just you two right there. So it's dark, can't really see much, but you notice a sort of a cloaked, hooded figure sort of slowly step and shuffle into the room and sort of like peer around, looking for something. You're not sure what.
That's kind of
Where
like
you
slate.
links in the dark.
I open.
We can't really see. Cortanis and Weria can't really see, right?
Yeah, she's trying to like use her like
I'm
just
like,
because she's been in the dark for a while.
Right. You just sort of see a darker blob against darkness. There's a little bit of light coming from the hallway, but it's a minimal amount. Enough that you see like, oh, there's a figure that has moved in and seems to have made their way into. They're standing just in front of the doorway, kind of like looking around. Yeah.
Try at least keep track of the movements.
Right.
As best you can.
Shape and just doesn't do anything yet because she doesn't know what's going on.
Sure.
Going to lay very, very still, pretending to be asleep, but I mean, it's Velas. He's probably going to sleep with his dagger still on his armor, so I'm just going to put a hand on one.
Oh, you're probably in your hand.
Yes, that's fair.
Like you have it in your hand under the pillow, and then you're laying on the pillow.
That's fair. Yeah. Yep. I'm fine with this.
Sure. So you're laying there still. Cortanis, you're sort of leaning up against the wall, probably facing the door.
Yeah.
And so the figure, as it's scanning the room, it sees you, and it stops, and it sort of takes a couple of slow steps forward, and then lifts up to pull back its hood. And you see that it's actually the old elf from earlier in the evening that you'd noticed. And he sort of peers through the darkness at you, sort of looking at you and kind of gauging your reaction.
Well, at first she's kind of squinting because she still can't see as well. Like trying to say, oh. Jessica tilts her head, mutters, kind of tries to say a whisper, considering Elias is still snoring in the corner.
Right.
Doth thou need something? And that sort of archaic Elvish, she's still kind of sluggish at this point.
Right. He kind of peers at you.
Pull back
Is
a
that
little bit.
you? Little Mekar, is that you? He's kind of squinting, and you can see just sort of like this momentary cloud moving out from in front of the moon, and a bit of increased level of light. His eyes are kind of milky white, some sort of just old age, whatever that is that happens when your eyes start going. He doesn't seem to be able to see all too well.
What word did he say? There was like a name?
It was so it's old Elvish, but it was roughly translated. It means sword dancer.
Doth thou know me? Doth thou know me? Like a little bit louder, but then kind of cuts herself off and moves to stand before him.
He kind of like holds out his hand, and like a ring on his finger just slowly begins to glow just a little bit to sort of provide some light, and he kind of holds it up to your face a little bit, peering very intently at you. I haven't seen you since I was a sapling. Can it really be you? And he's like getting very close, trying to squint and look at you.
Prithee, forgive me. If I knew you, I know not anymore. I know nothing.
How can it be? You look the same. And he kind of like pulls back and sort of looks you kind of up and down, taking in your dress. You're sort of, I'm not sure if you have a particular name for them, but the hair.
Just the twin tails down the front.
The tails, yeah. I'm like, I don't know if I want to call them tails or not. And he sort of hesitantly reaches out and to sort of like just very, very gently touch your arm a little bit, like almost as if it's just hesitantly, not quite sure, like testing to see if he can actually like physically touch you. And then he kind of pulls his hand away when like there's firm resistance, like you're actually not a figment of his imagination, and he kind of seems taken aback.
He moves back, like, I assume, like, at this point, when she stood up, she put her blades underneath one arm and just kind of, like, reaching out, take his hand as best she can. Pray you, tell me, what doth thou know? Who are ye?
My name is Anathi Cillianeth. And you were the god for my father. You were by his side when I was a young boy.
Thy father?
My father, he died a long time ago.
Who was he? Pray thee. Speak more.
He was the head of our old house. So many were lost then. He got our family to safety. And you went with him and the soldiers. You were the best. They all looked down on you because you were human. But no one had ever seen. He kind of like motions with his hands, kind of generally in your direction. That's how you earned the name. Lilith Merikar, sword dancer.
She's just kind of putting a hand to her head now. I remember none of this. Your father, what was his name?
His name was Eturiel El Aranathi. I'll type it in. He was the head of our house. He stops to think. It's been some 900 years. I was just a sapling.
She looks very taken aback at that.
Barely learning the ways of the blade myself. Then the war came. The calamity. Our elders knew that there was no safe place for us. And so we were able to flee. We left this place. We left Exandria. At this point, you hear sort of some loud footsteps kind of coming down the hall. And you see another figure kind of step into the room and kind of like exclaim in Elvish, although not like old Elvish, modern Elvish. Grandfather, what? You can't go. There's no time. We have to leave soon. And it's the male elf that was with him earlier, sort of kind of what looks to be like pajama type attire. But he approaches the older elf and kind of like gently hooks his hand under his arm, and then kind of looks at you and in common, I'm so sorry. My grandfather's old, and he often gets confused, sees things from his past. I do apologize for disturbing you. And he seems very, very sort of apologetic, and those of you.
No. I wish to hear no more. He makes sense, but please, let him speak more.
And he looks kind of at his grandfather, and his grandfather like pats his hand. Do you see Delos? Do you see her? She was the family's finest warrior. She trained your father. My father. So long ago. And there's a female voice you hear in the hallway. Delos, have you found him? And the male elf kind of turns and yes, he's in here. And the female elf comes in. She seems to be dressed in traveling clothing, and has like a sort of a pack over her shoulder, and kind of comes up and sort of leans in closely and sort of quietly confers with the younger male elf.
While they're doing that, Katanas is reaching out to this older gentleman like,
sure.
Please, doth thou know my house? And she's kind of showing off the signet ring. Doth thou know what happened to it? My brother? Anything? I know not. Names, places.
You often spoke of your brother. Something happened to him. You told stories. You said so long ago. It was before we fled. I don't. And he kind of like holds out his hand because you're showing him your ring, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he takes it and he looks at it some more. And he sort of like traces his finger on the sort of embossing on it. I don't remember their names, but you came to us. And my father, he said he helped you when you needed help, and you stayed with us, and you helped our house, you helped him, you helped our family escape. And at this, the female elf is sort of like urgently whispering to Delos. It took us 20 years to find this place. Do you want to stay here for another 20? We have to leave soon. The male elf is like, I've never seen him like this before. We need to stay. You have 5 minutes, and she kind of like not stomps out because she's trying to be very quiet and whatnot. They're sort of whispering back and forth, but she leaves and sort of impatiently kind of paces back and forth out in the hallway. And the older elf sort of continues on. You came to us, and we took you in, and my father, he told us that you were, and then he says this old elvish word. Basically, it's sort of, there's no real translation in common, but it means sort of like a a like a wolf that's no longer part of its pack. It's kind of like it's been separated. Sort of like interestingly enough, also a bird that's fallen from a tree. It's like the same sort of context. And that's how his father described you. And
She's like looking a little more confused at this. Like, that makes no sense. I do not remember going with elves. Why would I leave my kingdom?
my father said you came from some place far away. Or was it long ago? But he said that you were special. And that you would keep him and our family safe. And that was and the last I saw you, you were with my father and the other royal guard before we were taken. We went into the forest, and then we were not a forest. The trees were different. And at this, the younger male elf sort of looks back over his shoulder at the female, and she sort of makes an impatient come on motion, and he kind of turns to look at you, and he's like, "I'm sorry. We traveled a long way to get here. He wanted to see home, but so much has changed since he was here. But we can't stay very long. I'm sorry. I mean, he seems to know you. But
I fear he may have me mistaken. Things that he says are confusing. This is the first time. I do not remember any of this. I fear I may not be the one you seek. And she turns to the older one.
At this, he's... No. My father used to joke that you never had a name. And so you simply used the name on your blades. And at this, my Elvish is really bad, so I'm not even gonna try. But he reads them both out.
It is impossible. It is impossible, but you speak true, and she'll kind of hold up the Elvish on the blades.
At this, the young elf, he seems to have been not patronizing, but kind of just going along with whatever the older elf was saying, sort of just But when you hold up the blade and he reads what's inscribed on it, he's very taken aback. And grandfather, does she speak true? And he kind of looks at it and he's like, yes, I told you all the stories when you were young. And kind of peers at him a little bit. You're still young. And then at this, the female elf in the hallway, tell us we must go now. And the old elf sort of reaches his hand out and kind of like firmly grasps your arm. I don't know if you're real or if you're a figment But it's good to see.
I no longer know
Good
if
to
I'm
see
real
you.
either, but
And he sort of like gives you a firm squeeze and like a pinch. And sort of like this old sort of sly grin. Well, if it hurts, then you're definitely still real. It's when it doesn't hurt that you have to start asking those questions. I'm
forgive me, I wish
I
I
hope-
could remember.
and his grandson is sort of like slowly beginning to pull him away, and he kind of like, yes, and he sort of roughly pushes him out. I don't know how you came to be here now, but and he he looks at you, and sort of his gaze has up to this point been kind of like he's never quite looking at you straight on, but he seems to have like caught your gaze, and he's like looking at you very, very intently. And I know not what brought you here, or what binds you to this world, but you saved my family's life. And he sort of reaches into his robe, and pulls out what looks to be a small signet ring, and kind of presses it into your hand. If it would help you find answers, you can take this. This will identify you and give you safe passage to our home, and maybe you can find answers there. And he's like beginning to be pulled away, and he just kind of like leaves the ring in your hand.
Where is it?
It's in Elderwood. He says, hold on, can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I can't hear anyone else. Sorry, hold on.
Oh, fuck!
Okay.
What happened?
Channeling Ashley Johnson, cutting out at the worst possible moment.
Goddamn!
Wait, okay, there we go. All right, I can hear everyone now. Yeah, no, he says Elderwood. And then the younger son, the younger elf, the grandson, explains that it's an old growth forest to the north, west of Draconia. And at this the older elf is kind of like just sort of. Sorry, hold on. Okay, now I'm in frame. Sort of giving you a slow sort of wave, and you can see the female elf. She's holding looks to be some sort of I don't know. Looks like a globe of sorts. It's kind of like lit up internally, and she's standing a little bit down the hall, and she opens up the door near her and steps through, and then the younger son is kind of like guiding the older elf, and they both stop, and he kind of looks over his shoulder at you, and kind of gives you a slow nod, and then the younger elf sort of ushers him through the door.
Safe travels in the archaic.
Right. And he responds back in the typical sort of call and greeting, and then the door shuts behind them.
Just kind of like shock look, like peers down at this ring for a second, and then just slowly slides back down the wall, back into her sitting position. Just kind of, it is impossible, but it is impossible. Just like trying to like run this all through her head 50 billion times, probably.
Right.
and just like silent for a while. I should just be there in silence, like staring down at this thing for a while. Just know anybody else is awake.
Okay.
I'm not revealing that.
I'm just gonna continue to pretend to be sleeping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maria has no freaking clue what just happened.
Just a lot of talking in Elven.
Yeah, she's just like, okay.
Right.
So the two people who understood that are pretending to be asleep.
I mean, Maria hasn't really done anything either, so.
Right. Ellis, do you speak Elven?
I do.
Okay.
I changed his backstory, his background, remember? So I got another language.
Okay. So half of what they said was unintelligible. It was in this odd dialect that you weren't familiar with. But you were picking up on the gist of it, like the old dude recognized Katanis somehow.
Okay.
And then same thing. Unless you've got that warlock thing where you just speak everything. I'm not sure if you have that yet. Oh, reading? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I keep getting...
I am kind of a history buff.
Yeah. So good, if you like, go ahead and make a history check.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like, it's not entirely...
Phyllis is not that old, so.
Yeah, no, you're not 900 years old.
No, not that old.
16.
So during the calamity, there were numerous groups of people, cultures or families or whomever. They fled not just their homes, but they fled Exandria to other planes. Just completely like, nope, they're out of here during the calamity. And you're not... a lot of it was the older races. So a lot of elves left. A number of dwarves burrowed into the mountains and had never been seen since. And so really, the age of Arcanum, I think it's called. I need to have that campaign book. I need to get a physical copy of it. That came up afterwards was heavily dominated by sort of younger races, a lot of humans and stuff, because a lot of the older races just sort of left. So that seems like maybe what he was talking about. But you're not super familiar with any old elf cultures. But the thing is, the history of every continent, there have been multiple cultures that have lived and have been wiped out in both the sort of rise of people before the coming of all the betrayer gods, and then there's the calamity itself, and then there's the divergence, and so it sounds somewhat familiar, but you're not necessarily recalling a specific place or culture or anything like that. But it's unusual for there to be actually a physical survivor, an actual survivor from that time. Your brother would have gone bonkers for an opportunity to talk to the old guy. But
after a little bit of like letting that sort of simmer and stew a bit, people might notice like some shifting as Cortanis like quickly finds like a little like a candle or something to light, grabs her notebook and starts writing down everything she can just remember from that conversation.
Sure.
As fast as she can.
Okay. It's a little before dawn, and it's definitely time for bread.
Bread.
You can hear sort of some stumbling in the hallways. It seems like some people are finally going to their rooms, trying to crash before the sun rises and just kills any chance they have of getting any rest. You don't really hear. Surprisingly, the common room is actually very quiet. Normally, oftentimes, these places are like situated in the worst possible places with lots of foot traffic and wakes you up and whatnot. But you begin to smell the morning meals as they're being prepared and cooked, and it's a light sort of drizzle outside, sort of another gray day in Menagerie Coast. Not super wet, but it looks like, based on the clouds, it's probably going to rain some more. Those of you who went back to sleep sort of wake up as a couple of the other people kind of wake up and get up, and they're sort of getting ready. It doesn't seem like anybody's making any notes or comments or anything as to what happened or transpired last night. But the two humans, are sort of like getting up and stretching, and kind of like one of them's like working out this crick in their back, kind of grumbling a little bit, about the rain. But they end up, pulling something out of their little footlocker thing and giving you all a polite nod as some of you are either getting up or quietly laying in bed. Nundra's getting up as well, and sort of looks over at all of you. And it'd be good to get an early start. I don't like. And kind of looks over everybody. The sooner the better. She just kind of like leaves the room. Elias is
with that.
still kind of like on the bed snoring. And then whatever's in those rags is completely unmoving. It's still there. You can see a slight like rise and fall, like something's under there and it's breathing.
Not dead.
Right.
No dead
but
people.
it's seemingly unperturbed by the noise and motion as everybody's getting up, getting ready.
Well, it would be good to get up out of here before the rabble starts up again.
I am in complete agreement. The sooner we leave this place, the better. Besides, it's about time we see a real city.
Okay.
Okay.
Just like, okay.
Yeah, where Yon stretches a little and says, well, back into the rain, I suppose.
All right. So you make
Cons
your
was
way.
like kind of zoning out through a little bit of that,
Right.
and then like at the last little part of where he is things like, oh yes, of course, sorry.
You kind of like gently nudge Elias awake, and he seems a little groggy, not quite all there, but he gets ready. He gets ready and gets his stuff, and you all make your way downstairs. Nundra seems to be talking with the barkeep. There's a couple of people milling about. Seemingly, some of them are eating, some of them are having conversations. A number of people that you didn't notice before yesterday. But it's for a place that's in the middle of nowhere, relatively speaking. There seems to be a lot of people here.
Any soldiers about?
Hmm?
Any soldiers about?
Yeah, there's a couple of them sitting at a table, and they're all sort of like very, very, very hunched over look to be tankards or mugs or something like that. None of them look at all happy to be awake and conscious. But at this, you can kind of you hear sort of a sharp female voice outside, sort of barking orders. very impatiently, sort of a lot of berating, a little drill sergeant-y.
Assuming not, but Katana's is peeking around just in case those elves are still around anywhere, but she's not expecting to find them.
Right. No, you having come downstairs, you don't seeing any sign or evidence of them at all. All right. So, is there anything that anyone would like to do or take care of, or
Just leave.
okay,
Get outside and get out of here.
sure.
I'd still kind of like to keep an ear out for the soldiers, talking about maybe their plans are for the day.
Sure.
I know we were talking about maybe throwing in an anonymous tip at them before we go, but I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
At the soldiers?
About the
artificer.
maybe sending them off in the wrong direction for the
Yulia.
Yeah, Yulia.
Gotcha. Right.
But I don't really know how we convince them to go off the wrong way.
I don't think...
You can hear the ones that are inside sort of grumbling about, getting shit duty, and she should. But they're quiet and kind of trying not to be too loud and have anyone overhear them. Occasionally, you see, as you're kind of settling things up, and Nundra's sort of finishing with the proprietor, a couple more soldiers kind of not lazily, but they kind of come downstairs, like straightening tabards and tightening straps on various pieces of armor and belts and that sort of thing. Some of them make their way outside, and those of you who are kind of just making your way, you notice that the half orc from the night before seems to be running a number of the soldiers through drills. They're sort of all she's kind of in front of them, and they're all kind of in rough formation, sort of in front of her, and she's sort of calling out numbers and running everyone through something, and then every now and again, she'll. So she's got this. Basically, it's more or less a glaive. She'll smack someone's weapon, or she'll trip them up a little bit, and kind of bark at them, but pretty much to the man and woman, they are grumpy, miserable, and they do not look like they are interested in drilling in the mud and the rain. There's no sign of the blonde-haired officer from the night before, but that's what you see outside.
Just on our way out, I'd kind of like to just see if I can, if the barkeep, just see if I can get the officer's name out of the barkeep.
Oh, yes. You kind of call him over. He's like, "Oh, what can I do you for?" The officer's name. Some long, fanciful lordling son's name. It was Aster, Alistair. He had a whole bunch of them. Let's see. What did he call himself?
The lastmost one.
The Alistair. Merowyn. Yes, that was it. Merowyn. You recognize this name. So there is a high-ranking sort of government. He was a general of sorts, sort of turned bureaucrat, who was known. Who you recognize the name Merowyn. I think at some point he had come to pay respects to your father, he'd called at your house. It was when you're very, very young. But you're sort of like ushered, like presented, and then ushered out as quickly as possible. And he seemed to be some guy in a uniform with a bunch of flair and buttons, and seemed very sure and self-important and whatnot. But everyone was very deferential and whatnot to the Lord Merowyn.
Thank you.
Of course.
Hopefully they don't cause too much more trouble for you.
Yeah, I mean, Imperial gold spends just as well as any other, but people like them, they're bad for business.
Monetary isn't the only worth.
Yeah. I mean, I'll certainly be giving a bonus to my staff. They've had to endure quite a bit. And at that, you actually hear, like, from behind you, there must be like the lavatory or something nearby. You hear someone sort of not handling the smell of breakfast very well, and they sort of like slam in there, and you can hear them losing. They're having a rough morning, and he kind of like just closes his eyes and yes.
And I'll just slap 2 gold down on the counter for him, and a good day to you, sir.
He nods his head. Thank you. We appreciate appreciative customers. I hope that last night's stay in the common room was not too discomforting. I apologize that we didn't have anything of more appropriate accommodations for such polite and friendly folk. And he sort of nods his head. If any of you are sort of with Aiden, kind of hanging around, he nods to you as well, appreciative of someone who is not like making a mess of.
The openness of the accommodations did have its merits.
Well, please.
Oh yeah.
Do come back on your travels. We are usually halfway between where you are and where you need to be.
Head outside.
Sure.
Where you give a little
Outside,
wave and
been outside.
best of luck.
Okay. And he gives you a hearty wave. Always. The smile is very natural. Always happy to see one of the folk. Nundra's kind of waiting outside on the porch as you all kind of pile out, standing under the awning, and as the half-orc woman still sort of like barking orders at everybody, and there's a couple people in the back who are kind of like really they're just standing there, sort of cradling their. One of them's kind of just slowly rubbing his forehead, and you can see through her motions and her facial expression, she's very perturbed, but doesn't quite seem to be reacting to the less agreeable. Oh, hold on. It's still raining. It's Wildmount. There we go. Okay.
Wildmount's always raining.
I forgot to hit loop. Well, it's the beginning of the raining season.
Right.
Specifically, Gundren and his siblings set out pretty much as soon as winter ended, and as soon as the passes and the weather warmed up enough to accommodate actual travel, they got going. So it's it would probably be the equivalent of about March or April. I don't know what the
Presumably all get drowned rat again as soon as we go out.
Right. Yeah, it's I'm not sure of the exact Exandrian calendar, but I'll look it up and throw it in I was going to say I'll put it into the show notes, but I'll just put it into chat because I don't think we have show notes. I've been listening to way too many podcasts.
We have show notes
Yeah.
now.
Oh yeah, we do, don't we?
Yeah,
We do have
a little bit.
notes. Yeah. Not
Right.
show notes, but notes.
Okay.
So Cortana is a little groggy this morning, so it takes her a few extra seconds to really feel like a drowned rat and just kind of back to her normal, like, dirty, gross.
Right.
Cortana and Elias just huddled together complaining the entire time we travel, basically.
Okay.
Well, Cortana's just looking like she wants to complain. She allows Elias to actually do the complaining for both of them.
Sure.
I'm sure he does enough for both of you.
Right.
Just out of we towards Port Damali. We've been heading southwest, basically.
So you went south. Hold
Yeah.
on, let me go into frame. Here we go. You went south, and are now kind of going along the coast, or
Okay.
will be going. We went along the coast a little bit. This is the halfway in is on the crossroads between the main trade road and like the one road that kind of goes to Draconia to the north, and then Port Damali's to the west. And again, my frame is hold on, west.
So it's basically south and west rather than southwest.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Because there's no direct road. I mean, you could travel overland to the wilderness, and Brielle is more than happy to escort you. She's been around as well. She spent the night out in the woods, didn't want to have anything to do with the soldiers. She seemed particularly displeased by their presence. But as you're all sort of making your way, you can see her standing in the courtyard, sort of curiously watching all of the soldiers, and she kind of waves to all of you. She's said on multiple times that she's more than capable of like guiding you through the wilderness. You'll probably make just as good time, and you can avoid, anything. Nundra's not having any of it though. She doesn't want to go trumping through the wilderness. She wants to make her way as quickly as possible along the roads.
Well, shall we?
Well, so we're heading
Let's
Heading out.
go!
Okay.
And where?
All right.
heading out.
Heading west.
Is West
Okay.
Port?
West is toward Port Damali.
Travel
I just hear port
montage.
and I get excited.
Right.
Port means
Yes.
water.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the major settlements in the Menagerie Coast are all on the coast. And Port Damali is just simply the largest of them. There are a few settlements that go a little bit further north, like Vandalin, for example, is one of them. Oftentimes they're centered around some particularly valuable resource, like a mining town or something like that. Or oftentimes there's remnants of villages or towns or cities and stuff that have largely been taken over by trees and nature and whatnot scattered throughout. But currently, most of the citizens of the coast live on the coast. And along the way, there's on the way to Port Damali is also another sort of trade hub, much smaller, mostly just often a port in the storm, kind of, for a lot of the people who travel along the Shearing Channel or up and down the Menagerie Coast. Storms can get pretty bad, and so there's before you get to the Dwendalian Empire, there's Nicodranas, which is a sort of a harbor town that is often a stopover point for ships looking to unload or just take safe harbor.
Can't
In-
sing the
in
song.
storms.
Can't sing the song. Looking to unload.
Right. It's the main trade road kind of runs through it, but you'll be approaching that within a couple of days. The town. There's a couple occasionally, a merchant or a caravan. Usually they're all well armed. They often will give you whoever's sort of riding shotgun. Oftentimes there's someone, multiple people with crossbows, and as your group sort of approaches and hold on, let's see. There we go. I need to get used to the frame and sort of cross on the road. It's kind of like a brief, tense, kind of like everyone's watching everyone. It's like, you cool? You cool? We cool? Okay, we're cool. There's no you. The further west you get, the more diverse the people you tend to find. The Menagerie Coast tends to attract all manner of folk from all over the place. It's really just a mishmash of people and culture. And having left the inn, there's no sign of any more Imperial soldiers or presence or anything like that. Occasionally, sort of riding past relatively quickly, there's often messengers. They sort of have it's a scroll kind of with wings emblazoned on it. It's a sort of a guild, courier's guild, that basically the Menagerie Coast version of the Pony Express. Those pass along the trade road fairly frequently, more so than random travelers and whatnot. But other than those folk, you don't really find or see too much along the road. There is an afternoon at one point, sort of just before you get to Nicodranas, where the rain lets up, and it's actually sort of a brief afternoon of warmth and sunshine, as you're sort of slowly coming over a hill, and you can kind of see the city town, really, of Nicodranas in front of you. It's a small sea town. Its probably most distinguishing feature are a lot of man-made, sort of like a man-made harbor, just rocks and earth and shipwrecks and stuff are all sort of built out into the water that kind of create this harbor. And at the end of the harbor is actually a really, really tall lighthouse. And so it's known for being a safe port in this in the storm, both literally and figuratively. The lighthouse is sort of like the symbol of the city that they use. They tend to be very welcoming of strangers. Tends to be a lot of money passes through, and so you always kind of one of those things where you always kind of want to keep an eye on your purse strings and anything of value. At least that's, for those of you who've never been here before, are what you're told by Nundra as she's kind of like leading you in. Not quite, wretched hive of scum and villainy, but it can be rowdy.
Hear Elias being like, "That was the inn we came from."
Right.
Yes, but you're not as likely to find soldiers here. That.
Right.
People are out of here.
Nundra's hoping to find horses to help expedite travel to Port Damali and shave some time off, as well as so that she has to stop walking through the mud. And she kind of like looks down at her boots, and much like the rest of you, it's basically like it's a little dried off now, but it's just mud spattered all the way, all over.
Mud to the knees, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
What mud to the chest for where, yeah?
Possibly.
Right.
We really should have asked Julia about her
Sorry, I zoned out for
contraption.
like 2 seconds. What?
No worries. So
Yeah. Wait, what?
you have a question?
No, I zoned out and
Oh.
We're talking about how muddy it is.
Right. Nundra wants to stop in the town and get horses because it's really crappy walking through mud.
I just like to think that was in
It's
character,
funny
and then she
learning
just
the
repeats
genre.
herself.
I mean,
Right.
yeah, probably too, but
But it's more or less a not even really a detour to stop in the town, replenish any supplies, pick up some horses.
near the water.
Oh yeah, it's a harbor town. Like you can see
Yay!
the water.
I
Often
see
the
ya. Let me
Yeah.
know when you guys are continuing on. Water.
Just like
a lot of
it's
the
an apple
coast,
splash.
it's most of the time you're never, as you travel the trade road, you're never really more than a few hours away from the water. There's certain areas where the Menagerie Coast isn't really known for its beaches. This is more like Pacific Northwest, going up to Alaska type coast. So lots of rocky hillsides, forests that just jut right up against the water. Not so much like, sandy beaches that you'll find in the whatever that resort place was from campaign 1.
Wow.
Have you not gotten there yet?
No, yeah. I was trying to remember the name of it.
Okay.
I
I
haven't.
have it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I'm
haven't.
at like
Bay of Gifts.
almost 90.
Oh, the Bay of Gifts. Yeah, it's literally like the beach holiday episode. It's hilarious.
It really is.
It's the time.
Guys, when do we get a Hot Springs episode?
Oh gosh. When Felice starts learning fire magic, that's when.
Right. She'll
Fair
just
enough.
sit. She'll just go
Sit
fire
and boil the
elemental
water.
form in the water. Okay. Nundra seems to be pretty comfortable and confident. She's been here before, and sort of just leads you all into the town. Speaks briefly with the couple of guards at the gate. The walls themselves are, some of them are, they look like, some of it's just sort of like wooden palisade. Some of it is sort of old stone that is kind of like built onto and kind of repaired and repurposed. But it's not something that's like completely enveloping the city. A lot of it is still pretty open. It's really kind of largely just, they're just here kind of keeping track of who comes in and out on the road in terms of commerce and trade. But there's still a lot of free movement into and out of the city. So she takes you into the town. Kind of there's the trade road basically more or less bisects the town. Kind of goes straight through the middle, and then continues on west. Like, I'm trying to make symbols, but okay, here we go. Yes. So it's kind of just this sprawl that's grown up and expanded over time. There doesn't really seem to be any kind of planning or organization to really anything. Some areas of the city have got like cobble laid down. It looks like maybe scavenged stone from old, brickwork, that sort of thing. Some of it's just tromping through mud. There does seem to be a particular quarter of the city that is ringed by by fencing. It's sort of like, oh, that's where all the people with money have holed themselves up, and then built a wall to keep out people who don't have money, because that always seems to crop up in most places. But she gets a tavern off the main trade road, kind of right near the center of town, and she pays the room for everybody, planning on just staying the night, finding supplies, and sort of nods to all of you, I'm gonna go get horses, arrange for some supplies. Leave in the morning. If there's anything you want to do, sort of. Nico Dranas sort of shrugs and turns about. But
Gone.
huh?
Then meanwhile, Felice is gone.
Felice is down by water.
Right. Yeah. So basically, So you beelined it to the water. What?
Did anybody go with her?
Nope.
If anyone wants to.
Nope.
I didn't.
You up to Elias on that one? Sorry.
Okay. Elias is like, he looks kind of over to you, Aiden. She can take care of herself, right? I mean, she can
We're chuckle. We're chuckles.
turn into
even though he's talking
things.
Where is chuckles, even though he's talking to Aiden, and says, "The water is perhaps her natural element. She'll be fine."
Okay. Well,
If anybody does go look for her, you're not gonna find Felice, at least, because
right.
Felice doesn't look like Felice already.
She's a narwhal!
So as you kind of like gutted off before you even got into the inn, Nundra called out that you're at the Steer and Rudder. That's the name of the place you're staying at.
Such peculiar designations.
You've never been on a boat.
Who's never been on a boat?
Oh, yes, I guess they've been on a boat, just
That was
not
Nundra's question.
well, yeah, they came on a boat over here, so
Right.
yes, but
inns named after parts of boats.
Right.
precisely.
Remember that one.
Right. You actually get there. When you get there, the sign out front actually has what looks to be a painted picture of a minotaur at like a ship's wheel. And when you go in, you can see there's a definite theme to the place. A lot of there's like a cow skull up on the wall, and various sort of cow hides look to be strewn across the floor and whatnot, sort of as like rugs kind of thing. But yeah, Nundra takes off, goes to take care of business. Briella's off to go do something narratively convenient.
She's in her natural element and she flies off into the air.
Right.
Disappears.
Yeah.
He just finds the seediest tavern he can find, starts a bar fight.
Oh, right. Did you say Hegan came along?
Takes over the bar.
Yeah. No, Hegan.
Keegan now owns a bar and Briella has vanished.
Right. Okay, so Felice.
Yeah.
You head on down to the water line in the docks. So you can see there's a lot of ships in port. Yeah, like
Sorry.
almost more than what the harbor can handle. And you can and based on the time of day and based on looking at a lot of these are like some of them are fishing vessels, some of them are trade vessels, but they're just, it seems especially busy. Like there's more here than you would have expected, for it being such a small little place. There's a lot more people kind of milling about. Fishermen and traders and that sort of thing. They usually always are busying themselves. You've spent a lot of time, watching people from the ocean. Not a whole lot of people, but not a whole lot of them are busy. It's just the observations that you make as you make your way down to the water. Sort of if you dive in, or I'm not sure what your plans are once you get to the water. You're just sort of excitedly yelling about water.
I'm also not totally stupid, so I mean, quick scan just to make sure nothing's gonna like jump out of this water and kill me. But I don't think anything will, right?
Oh no, it's as
So quick scan. Okay, safe water. Sploop.
right.
Like, D&D is a fantasy world because when Phaelus mutates in the ocean, it isn't because of the water.
Right. Yeah, no, from as far as you can tell, this is the pretty bog standard harbor. Not much in the water, sort of real close to the harbor. Just there's a lot of activity, a lot of refuse and runoff from the town, and so you kind of have to go a little bit away from the town itself to start seeing the typical flora and fauna that you would normally find underwater, other than just like scavenging creatures and stuff in the actual harbor itself.
Why are there no creature stats for dolphins?
Huh.
I can be
don't
like
know.
8 different kinds of sharks, but I'm like, I don't want to scare people.
Right. We'll have to develop some
Lisa's goal.
stats.
She just wants to be a dolphin.
Right. We'll have to develop some
dolphins have their
stats.
fun little like
Right.
sharks don't do that.
Right. I would say
There's like a homebrew for porpoise.
oh yeah, a homebrew
really?
porpoise. Go for that.
I was like, there's a killer whale somewhere in the actual guide. Where's the home? I don't know how to find homebrew things. Are they in
It's
D&D Beyond?
I
She linked it.
posted it in the
Oh,
link
no.
in the chat.
No, it's a D&D wiki, yeah.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good. I mean, I don't think there's anything particularly broken about the porpoise. I'm not.
Phaelus is a porpoise with a purpose.
Yeah.
Well, that's
If
the thing.
Phaelus wants to turn into a porpoise, she can do that.
Right. The thing though is, does she have a purpose other than just going to the water?
Just water. Hey, look,
Gotcha.
I found
That's a
I found
purpose.
dolphin stats on D&D Beyond.
Oh.
This
All
is
right, D&D
monster,
Beyond.
you know. But its challenge rating is only 1/8, so I'm good.
Right. You can go up to like what, 1/4 or 1/2?
1/2 right now, I think.
Okay. There is the. Did you take the spellcasting or the animal shaped circle?
Land, I think, right?
I'm close to circle.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm the spellcasting one. Otherwise, yes.
Okay.
But,
You could get like up to 1 or 2 or something.
yeah,
Pretty soon, once you get up a couple levels. Okay.
my focus is. But I do
Sure.
enjoy being a dolphin.
Okay.
So Phaelus is being a dolphin.
Yes.
Jumping up
Sort
and
of
down
like-
to the water.
Her mother said
Yeah.
she could be whatever she wanted.
Right.
So I
Okay.
became a dolphin.
Sure.
Pretty sure
All
my
right.
mom taught me how to be a dolphin. So
Okay. So for those of you sort of back in the inn, tavern, it's a little of both. The ready steer, or not the ready steer, the steer and rudder. The ready steer is very different.
Yeah, that's entirely. That's either something really seedy or it's the burger joint.
Right,
One of the two.
right,
We're
right.
not quite sure which.
Exactly.
Could be both. It could be a shady burger
Mhm.
joint.
That's
I
fair.
like the idea of a shady
They're like
burger
health
joint.
code violations up the wazoo.
All right. So let's take a short break here, if we can.
Yeah.
Refresh drinks. And just give me a chance to check in with Tracy and the boys, and also get some caffeine because I've been drinking water, which is super healthy and very hydrating. But I need some caffeine.
Yes,
makes coffee
yes,
work
caffeine
better
is
though.
great.
So
Yes. Okay. So we'll pause here. I'm gonna kill my camera just for a moment. But let's. Okay. So it's 8:10 my time. So let's make it 8:17 or
Okay.
7
Got
minutes
it.
from now. Because 5 minutes is always. I always end up like walking in like at 6 minutes. So let's make it 7 minutes.
Break time, break time, break time.
Right.
Break.
All right. Be right back.
My coffee will wait until after game because I can't make coffee that fast, so I will wait.
I need more tea.
You gonna be up late?
Yeah. I don't work till Sunday, so
Yeah. I mean, I don't work on the weekend, but the wonkier my sleep schedule gets on the weekend, the worse my Monday is.
I just hate my job enough that I don't care if I'm
Yeah.
awake.
Yeah, last night killed me.
I mean, the problem is I can't do parts of my
Yeah.
job if I'm not awake. Like,
Yeah.
I need to
Yeah.
have a functional brain.
Yeah, for me it doesn't matter that much.
I don't
Give it a
necessarily
law.
have to be like presentable to other human beings, but I need to have a functional brain.
Yeah.
So, though I am teleworking on Monday, so that'll make my Monday a little easier.
Yay.
Because I'm going to
This might
see
even work.
the Sailor Moon
I
musical Monday night, and I want to not have to get home first.
I sent you my schedule, but I didn't even actually look at it. Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm thinking, Kristen, that Tuesday night maybe we'll play
Whoa.
a little.
Okay.
Because I was going to say tomorrow, but David can't be there tomorrow.
Mm,
And
That's okay.
Maggie can't be there till 10 on either Saturday or Tuesday. But I figure if we start earlier than that, then we can run till like 11 midnight and she can jump in for at least a little bit. But if David can't make it and Maggie can't make it, that's not going to work.
Yeah, because then it would just be the two of us.
That
That doesn't work. You don't want to let those two out of the entire party loose together.
What happened? Also, oh my god,
I
I
was
made
saying-
science.
I'm thinking we'll do the other game on Tuesday for a little bit this week, maybe a shorter session
Cool.
Tuesday night, because David can't make Saturday night, and Maggie can't be there till after 10 either Saturday or Tuesday.
Okay.
But I figure
The
if
Aaron.
we play a little late. But Alva and Sven is the sole
Just,
party.
just the two of them. A
Terrible
session with just the two of them is the worst conceivable idea.
Are
Can
we?
you imagine?
Would we literally? Well, no, I guess not, because like we can't be Shaggy and Scooby because Sven is just Shaggy and Scooby together. But like, what would Alba be in that situation? Alba would be like Freddy. Oh no, Alba would be fucking Scrappy too. Fucking fuck. Search your feelings, you know it to be true. Also, this is amazing, and you all should try it. It is like strawberry pucker mixed with Arizona green tea. Really damn good. Science.
Oh, Alva's a disaster, and I love them.
Alva
They don't
is
need
a
to be a
disaster.
disaster.
Sven is also a disaster.
Sven is a very different kind of disaster.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are both disasters of.
I didn't expect you guys to like them so much. They are really fun.
Sorry, Jerusha, you cut out, so we can't hear you. We can no longer hear you.
Why do you hate us?
Oh man.
Okay, now we can hear you again.
Yeah, my thing unplugged slightly.
Uh-huh.
And it took me a minute of not hearing you guys to realize that it wasn't just that you weren't talking; it was that my thing had unplugged. And it had unplugged so subtly
Yeah,
that I only realized it when I pushed it back in.
that's fair.
So,
Definitely.
but this next month is so crazy.
It really is.
Between regen, bachelorette parties.
Regen, bachelor parties, wedding stuff. I've got a gig.
Yeah.
I've got another con for the maidens.
Well, and I have to prep all my stuff for Artist Alley. So regen is like an extra load for me.
Oh yeah.
I wanna do an artist alley, but I can't figure out what con would be good to apply at. So right now I'm just trying to make a stock of stuff.
So we've got a little timeout for then, and it wouldn't be for necessarily you doing Artist Alley, but if you want to, it's right around, Matsuri, so I don't know if it's an option, but I'm doing Potterverse again. And it's because it's like one's one weekend and one's the next, so it probably wouldn't work, but because of work. But if you wanted to come out and help, you could at least see how that works.
Yeah, I like to, but I don't think I could make it 2 weekends in a row just because my job is.
Yeah, no, that's why I started to say that, and then I realized that it was both 2 weekends in a row, and
yeah,
probably not.
Also, like, doing cons in your area is tough because I don't have anybody to split the drive with coming from my end to you. And if I could split the drive, it'd be fine. And I'm not worried about getting there. It's the drive back after a full weekend of con that I feel like I would just pass out driving home. Which is the only reason I haven't done it. If I could take like an extra day, then I'd probably be fine.
I mean, if at some point you want to do that, you can always come stay at my place for Sunday night.
Yeah, I may do that.
Aaron and I both have places that people can stay.
Okay. I will probably take you up on that at some point. Just a matter of when I actually can.
Right.
Food on party.
I have a queen size bed and a full down thing, so. I assume you'd probably take the bed, given that we've shared beds plenty of times.
There you go.
We've shared 5 of us. Was that 5? 4? 4 of us, 5 of us in a bed. How many were in that?
Oh God.
God.
Oh my God.
It was just 4. I can math. But that was 4. Was it a queen or was it a full? It was a very small bed.
I think it was a queen.
It was a queen. It was a queen.
It just felt
it
very
worked.
small.
It was very small. Okay, but to be fair, a queen is not made for 4 people.
No, it's not.
I mean, a queen can handle 2 people really easily and 3 people at a squeeze. Yeah. But yeah, 4 people is a bit much for a queen bed.
That's con life, though.
Yep.
That's con life for you.
Hashtag con life.
I can't wait for Matsuri. Oh, guys!
Oh, Matsuri.
Mostly Aaron and Jerusha. I did something. Look, this is heavy. This is heavy.
You did something?
My new baby.
I'm not at my screen.
She's got a sewing machine.
I know you're not at your screen. I bought a sewing machine.
Okay. A good brand.
Shiny.
Oh, it finally came.
Nice.
No, I bought a different one because my other one was stuck in limbo, so I said, fuck it, I'm just going to cancel the order. And this one actually is a 37 stitch machine. Yeah. And the other one was a 27.
Nice.
That might be what model of brother is that?
GX37.
What do I have? Oh no, I have a CS 6001. 6000i.
So this one has 10 more stitches than the other one I ordered. I got a 2-year plan instead of a 1-year, and it was like maximum $20 more.
I have
so I'll take it.
Yeah. No,
However, my other one is currently stuck in limbo because the order status, being that they're trying to get stock for it, even though they're probably not going to be able to, since they're trying to get stock, I can't cancel the order.
That's annoying.
And I've worked with orders through my job enough, that used to be part of my job, that I know that there's no one at any level that can cancel the order once it's in that status, not even corporate.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's locked out. So I have to wait either until it comes in or until like the 24th before it cancels itself, or I can cancel it. So I just have $100 in limbo that I can't use for anything I need.
I'm sorry.
I'm grumpy about that. But I have a sewing machine.
That's good. I need to finish my Fires of Pompeii dress.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to try it out, though. I haven't gotten to sew anything in so long. This means I'm gonna make prompto for Matsuri-gun.
Ooh.
I need to make casual femme crisps for Matsuri. That's the goal.
Yes. Yeah, I want to make a casual something to go with you, but for obvious reasons, Prompto is my top priority right now.
Well, I mean, and to be
Megan's
fair,
gonna do Ignis with me.
Nice.
to be fair, you know, my free skate Yuri is probably my top priority, but I also know that that's going to take. I don't know. I have no idea how long the rhinestones are going to take on that.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Is it sad that I kind of want to do Popoco from Pop Team Epic?
I haven't seen Pop Team Epic, so
It is shit
I
posting
haven't
the anime.
seen it, but I'm familiar with it.
I don't know if you saw those guys at the guys in the Sailor Fukus at Katsucon that had like the giant like cutout hands that were just both doing this with like the
So basically, it's Evan the anime.
Yes, it is Evan the anime. It's so much Evan the anime. Like, they basically give the
Evan
voice
the anime.
actors no direction and just tell them to have fun with it, and they change the voice actors. Like, they have 15-minute segments, and then they repeat those 15-minute segments with different voice actors until, like, gave them little to no direction or, like, writing. It's amazing.
But yeah, I mean, for Matsuri, my goal is to have. I mean, I'd love to have Yuri done. If I get Yuri done, that would be fabulous. But I want to make Femme Chris, casual Femme Chris, just because that one's not actually going to be that hard to do. I just have to do it. Right? So, we'll see.
Since Matsuri has Ray Chase this year, I have to have Prompto done. I have to. And also, like, the last Matsuri, they had Robbie. And I think they got Robbie again? Maybe? I'm not sure. I know they have Ray Chase for sure, though, so I have to get it done.
Like, Indeed.
I also need to make Yasha at some point, but that's...
Yeah. I'm going to try. My main goals right now are Casual Jester and Prompto.
Yes! Jester
I don't know
twins!
I don't know what I'd do for casual Yasha. I think I'm just going to make Yasha.
Yeah.
Okay, so I should probably just make it 10 minutes.
Fair enough.
But I've got some snacks, I've got some caffeine, Tracy has rum, we're all good.
Yay! I did
Yay,
science.
Mhm.
I've got beer.
I have nothing.
The blood of my
beer.
enemies.
My beer
should hydrate.
has a wolf on it.
Oh,
My other beer that I'm not drinking right now, but I have a can of on, has a raccoon on it.
I had this. I
Rocket?
did.
Ooh.
All right, so we are at this. So Felice is off being a dolphin
right.
because that's what she does.
Alice wants to drink.
Yeah, I was like saying, does anyone need anything? Or should we...
I don't think the things that I want can be bought here. I think I have to wait until I get to Port Damali.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
What is it you're looking for?
on Carver Town.
I'm looking for a shady enough place to get a poisoner's kit.
Mmm.
I mean,
You could ask around.
You might
This
find a
might be-
thieves guild around here.
I will do that because these
poisonous
can't.
sea creatures. You never know what you might.
Well, I
find
mean,
them.
Poisoner's kit
Yeah.
is just you have to squeeze like some kind of crab.
Poisoner kit.
I don't know how that works, but
some creature sitting on the ocean, you just kind of like milk it, and then you got your.
extreme syphilis.
Okay, so
jellyfish.
I'm finally listening to the episode of Critical Role that was right before Katsucon, and they mentioned syphilis.
It's becoming a running joke. At this
Extreme
point.
fucking
It's great.
syphilis.
Caleb.
Riddled with it.
Caleb. I love
Syphilis comes in
Caleb.
with legs and weapons. All right.
Yeah, okay. I wanna go look around. Thieves
Okay.
can't around.
Is there a bookstore in this shady place?
Right.
Because I have a book I want to replace.
Sure. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
Just get our
so
mind
you're-
off of this shit.
Oh,
Right.
I just remembered something that will probably be relevant to this.
Okay.
But for my where is it?
Also,
feature that I took.
sure.
The background feature that I took for Velis was criminal contact.
Oh,
So
yeah. Okay, so you
that
know.
will probably make my life a lot easier.
Yeah.
Investigation, you said?
Right.
Oh, that's really good. 21.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I totally should have just taken a bite right now. I'm sorry.
That was a weird sound.
All right. Thank you. So, with very little trouble, you quickly find out that a sort of friend of a friend who knows a guy, who
I know a guy who knows a guy.
right. So his front is as a very respectable merchant.
Your contact is from Ant-Man.
Right, but
I
he's
was
been
just thinking about that.
right. But his name is Benji Frogwater. He's a halfling merchant who owns a merchant ship and does a lot of business up and down the coast as like a legitimate front for smuggling and sort of illicit trade and that sort of thing. And you know for a fact that he's actually in town, staying at a sort of a nicer upscale place a little further away from the docks. And assuming you sort of make your way over there.
No. Yeah.
Okay. So that would probably take you a couple of hours to sort of, do the quiet stakeout of most places. Listen for the or maybe the hint of thieves' cant, and then kind of like unobtrusively, you cool? Because I'm cool. You cool? We cool? Make your way into it. Vela said that she had some.
No. I was going to make a reference, and then I realized none of you would probably get it.
Velis had some things to take care of and took off. No. Velis had some things to do and took off. Felice was like, practically skipping and bounding to dive into the water. Anyone else interested in doing? Okay.
Yeah,
so if you're thinking about it,
I was thinking whether like yeah.
All right. So if you're thinking about it, then I'll just go back to is Bess still there? I don't know if she's under the blanket or not.
I'm just not in front of my camera.
Okay. So I'll cut to Velis' scene. So there's a gambling hall, and that's where Benji is been reported to be spending most of his time while he's here. Right. Lucky Rabbit.
Lucky Rabbit?
Yeah.
Cool.
And
how nice is this place? Is it like a little bit fancy or kind of shady or?
It looks to be like a comfortably respectable establishment. There is a sort of a guard out front, who's likely to keep both the riffraff out, as well as make sure that anyone who causes trouble joins said outside riffraff if they're on the inside. But I'm assuming that you probably changed clothing at least out of like muddy travel clothes.
My main thing was trying to figure out whether or not I would use my fine clothes, but I'm not gonna do that. Just standard, nice.
You can
traveling clothes.
wear plain streetwear. There's a lot of sailors that probably come here. They just like to make airs about how nice of a place they are. but it's not like, we're not talking tri-spires.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you make your way in, and it's like most coast town gambling halls that you've been in. There's some tables and of a couple of different table games. There's a bunch of people playing card games. Servers kind of walking around, offering, free, very cheap booze to the people who are playing. About what you would expect from a place like this. A quick scan of the room, and you see you do see Benji. He's halfling, kind of short for a halfling, and he's sort of got as neat and as normally well dressed as he typically is. He always seems to have greasy hair. He never quite seems to. You don't know what it is, but he always has like a slightly disheveled, just kind of got shaken down look to him. Kind of always looking about, shifty-eyed type figure. How he got so successful despite being so ridiculously conspicuous, you don't know, but you've never dealt with him directly, but you know that he is a sort of honor among thieves type guy.
Okay.
Yeah. So as you approach the table that he's at, you can sort of see him like angrily chuck a pair of dice down the table. I don't think you're probably I don't know. Would you be familiar with table games? I don't know. This is basically like a Exandrian version of craps. I don't have any rules or anything, but he does not seem to be winning based on the dour look on his face and the sort of teeth grinding look of frustration.
So when does everyone start playing Knifey Spoony?
What?
Like, so you played Knifey Spoony before?
I don't understand that reference. Sorry.
Sadness.
Are you? So you see him? I don't know if you are you walking up to him or just sort of scoping him out from afar.
I'm gonna go ahead and walk up.
Okay. He just kind of sees you approach, and he takes note. And you can see him sort of lean a little bit on his back foot, like he's about to dart at any moment, but he's looking casual.
Okay.
And he sort of waves his hand away as like the person at the table is like, bets, place your bets, anyone, last chance. And he kind of like leans away from the table a little bit and kind of looks at you expectantly as you approach him.
I'm going to pull a gold out, lay it on the table, lean over. I suppose I'll be in for a round.
He kind of like nods at you, and
Suppose I'll be in for a round.
The current round finishes, and he puts down a gold, and turn comes around to you, and the table dealer hands you a pair of dice, says, "It's your turn."
Just roll them.
Go ahead and roll.
Just D6s?
Sure.
7.
7? Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's good. There's the
in crap,
Benji.
7 is very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Benji like grins, and because wherever it is that you put your gold piece down, he matched it. And as the guy at the table like pushes a couple of extra gold your way, so you're getting 2 coming back at you.
Okay.
uh, uh, Benji, smiles a little bit. He's like, "You're lucky. You want to talk business?"
Business is good.
All right. I got a table. I got a table over there. Let's go.
Follow.
And he like flicks a silver to the table dealer, who like very quickly like grabs it out of the air and nods, and puts it into his pocket. Benji leads you over to a table. It's in a darker corner, sort of like a lounge area, where it's mostly just kind of people sitting in booths. They look to be like some hookahs and stuff set up over in this area, or whatever the Exandrian equivalent of a hookah is.
I think they actually have hookah. That was a thing in Marquette.
Yeah. And he kind of invites you to sit down, and he kind of sits, well, as unceremoniously as he can, considering the couch is like half as big again as he is. He kind of sits down on the couch, and kind of leans back. So, how can Benji Frogwater help you today?
I might be in the market for a few things. Heard that
Excellent.
You're reliable.
Yeah. Well, shipping's been a little shit late, but I'll see what I can do.
I might be looking for something. I do a bit of fighting. I'd like to make that a little more effective. I know my way around a couple poisons.
Oh, okay. So you're not talking about like a blade or anything. I mean, you look like you got a couple on you. You're talking about like poisons and stuff. Yeah, I can hook you up. Sure.
All right.
Was that it?
Great.
I mean, unless you have any particularly impressive blades on you. I think that'll be enough.
You say you can handle yourself in a fight, though. Kind of leans
Might
back
be
and
able
kind of giving you a thorough head to toe. Well, I might have a proposition for you then.
I'm listening.
Yeah. So, my ship never arrived in port, so I've been stuck in this piss hole for the last 2 weeks. Kind of takes a drink from a tabard, or not a tabard, a tankard that is not half-life sized. So
that would be really really
I'd be very
impressive.
impressed with his ability to drink from a tabard.
Right. No, he basically like picks it up and kind of does what Sam does and kind of puts it back down. So word was my ship was supposed to be here a week and a half ago. It left Port de Marly. It was supposed to come here. It was supposed to pick me up, and it was supposed to take me further business. I had word that it was making good time and was supposed to be here shortly. It never made it. However, the last message I heard was that they were a day out. As you can see, and he's kind of like waves his hands over, and as you kind of look around, there's a lot of people. It's kind of packed. Nobody's taking their ships out. No ship has made it in for the last week and a half. I need to find mine and my cargo. There's all kinds of rumors going around. If you can get to the bottom of it. Yes. I'm not, and he kind of looks down at himself, really equipped for that sort of task. But if you're the type to, play herbalist, you might be equipped to handle this sort of thing. Do you have any friends? If this is some sort of sea monster like rumors flying around, I'd pay you and each of your friends handsomely if you could take care of this for me.
In that case, take the kit as a deposit. Because I don't work for free.
Make a persuasion check.
Fun. Yeah, not great. 12.
You can see that he's having sort of like an internal struggle, and seems desperate, more so than you might expect. Yeah, all right. You can take that as deposit. You bring me back news of my ship and secure cargo. I'll give you a manifest, at least as much as you can. And know, and if I get my cargo intact, I'll give you and your crew, say, 200 gold each.
That's fair.
Okay, excellent. And he kind of stands up and in a very sort of comfortable way offers up a sort of variation of a secret handshake kind of thing, like people in the business know. It's like not just a handshake, but it's a thing.
It's a thing.
I'm not going to describe it because, all the rest of you don't know what it is, so I can't tell you. It's giving away the secret. But Velis knows. It's good. And he gives you the name of someone, my porter. He'll have a copy of the manifest. He can get it to you. And he gives you the name of Mikhail. He's at a sort of a assayers type business transaction kind of office down by the docks.
Well, I will be sure to make my way there.
Excellent. Oh, I think, they say your folk bring ill tidings, but, I think my luck might have just turned. And he pulls out the some of the extra gold that he got and waves someone over and gives them like the his winnings from the game. He says, although I think I might be done with the dice for the evening. And he kind of gives you a nod and goes off and starts picking up a conversation with someone that was kind of like flagging him down. The kid itself, his man at the docks will be able to. It's not like he carries that shit around, but the guy at the docks will get it for you. It's part of the letter. He gave you a note, a sealed note to take to the guy as a means of introduction.
All right. I'll head that way.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Felice.
Yeah.
You are sort of swimming and kind of frolicking in the harbor. And there's no ships. No ships leaving. No ships coming.
Are there any docked?
There's no ships. Tons. No ships
Okay.
leaving.
I was like, didn't I
ships
see
coming.
ships? Okay, but there's
yeah.
Are there any
But, I mean, you've been out and about for at least an hour,
Okay.
maybe 2
I was like,
hours, and a busy port is going to see traffic, and you're just not seeing anything. one of the times that you kind of sort of breach.
Mhm.
It's just your there's actually your spidey sense is tingling, sort of, but not like you don't really have a spidey sense. But it's the more time that you spend in the water here, the more that this place just doesn't seem right. It's just, it doesn't feel like, it looks like a port town, but it doesn't feel like a port town.
Side note, can I just say a dolphin has the exact same charisma score that Felice has. Anyways.
I think you keep your intelligence, wisdom, and charisma when you're in beast shape anyways.
It's just funny because Felice's charisma is
conveniently, it'll be the
7 and the dolphin's
regardless.
charisma is
You are as
7.
charismatic as a dolphin.
Yeah.
To be fair, people really like
about
dolphins,
right.
so
Anyways, I don't know if it affects anything as a dolphin. I do have blind sight for 60 feet, presumably when I'm underwater or whatever.
Yeah, because you can
So
hear
I don't know
and
if I see anything, or don't they use like echolocation? Yeah,
of sorts. Yeah.
I guess it would be the blind sight kind of.
Okay.
Do I notice anything under the water? Like anything out here?
You can searching around. It doesn't seem to be within the harbor itself. There doesn't seem to be anything here. In fact, if anything, it's actually like oddly devoid.
Like there's no fishies?
Yeah, like in the harbor. I mean, normally there's less fish in the harbor, just depending. But like, there's just no fishies. Like you had to actually like you had to travel out quite a ways.
Yeah. After, probably an hour or so of swimming, I'll turn back into no-me form and actually, no, I'll jump in the air as a dolphin up by the dock and then turn into land on, because that just is cooler that way.
Right. So you see,
also because little gnome trying to climb onto a dock with just not working.
Right. So as you like crest the water, you can see sort of this old man kind of just sitting there on the docks fishing, and you know for a fact that he has not gotten a bite in who knows how long, and he kind of sees you, and dolphins are typically sort of like a sign of good luck, and you can kind of see him grin, and then look very confused as you leap out of the water, and then basically just transform and land, sort of a 3-point landing on the docks, dripping in kind of seawater. And he's just kind of like just completely surprised by what it is that he's seeing, and he's like, "Hi, hello, and he kind of like looks at the water and then like his fishing pole, and he just like drops it and like slowly walks away. And
no, it's okay. Is he got already?
he's like kind of like backing away slowly.
No, I promise. I'm a normal gnome. Well, pretty normal gnome. I just can turn into some animals. That's all. It has nothing to do with the water. Promise.
Oh. I heard tell there was a monster in the water, and
monster.
You don't look like a monster.
You say I look like a monster?
He said you don't look like a monster. Sort of like,
so there was like a
you don't look like a monster.
Little monsters.
So sad.
Yeah. No.
No,
you're too small to be a monster.
I am too small to be a monster. I'm certainly not a monster. At least I wasn't a monster last time I checked.
Like, not thinking about the flaming skull.
Well, I mean, I didn't see anything down there though when I was the dolphin, so I don't know, but I do know there's no fish in the water, which is that normal for here? Is there just never fish here?
No, I come here fishing every day, but they haven't been biting of late.
Well, they're not biting because they're not here.
Oh. Oh.
I don't know where they are though.
I've been here for 5 days.
Well, I'd say they've been gone at least 5 days, probably.
Oh. Oh, okay.
I don't know why though.
He's like the cabbages
know
guy, but
either.
with fish.
Oh, I feel so sad for this man.
Okay, and he
Wants
kind of like
fish.
bends down and picks up his rod and like a tackle box and a little bucket, and he's like, "Okay, well, thank you, dolphin lady. I'm just gonna go home."
You're welcome.
And he kind of like toddles on off.
I'll let you know if the fish come back.
And he kind of turns around. Thanks, dolphin lady.
You're welcome, sad fisherman.
Assumes that it's just the norm here to just call people by what they do than what they are.
Dolphin lady, you said that's the name now.
Write that down. Sad fisherman.
Bad fisherman.
It's not even fisherman, it's fisherman.
You got it really close. His name is actually Tad Fisherman.
Okay.
With that though, I'll head back towards wherever. I'm assuming. Can I see the inn?
It'll
What
take
I
you a
was
little bit,
doing.
a few minutes to get there. Yeah.
Alright. If I can find my
But you
way.
can get directions. You got the name of it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. Hold on. Oh, okay. My wife was yelling, but she was yelling at to the children, not to me.
Always
Okay.
good.
Yes, she didn't need anything from me. All right. Okay. So you make your way back to the tavern. At this point, Velis is still gone. So the rest of you who sort of remained and stuck around in the tavern, was there anything that you were interested or up to doing, or anything that you wanted to take care of before you leave on the morrow?
We would probably chat with chat friendly with anyone who's around, but not. I don't have any specific plans.
Okay. The mood is pretty down. A lot of sailors sort of drinking away their sorrows. A lot of grumbling. Just that there's talk of some kind of monster. Nobody's been able to leave. And everyone's been kind of grounded for at least a week, if not more. Excuse me. But yeah, it's a lot of grumpy sailors. And so, you kind of happy and happy-go-lucky and chipper, sort of trying to strike people up in conversation, and generally they're all kind of like, not in the mood for sunshine and rainbows.
I figure Cortanis has been she was going to consider, like, trading out a book at a bookstore that she has, but ever since the end, she's just been that's been the last thing on our mind. She's just been kind of, like, way quieter than normal, just kind of keeping an eye on people and nursing, like, maybe a glass of wine at the tavern, like, very slowly. Right.
Elias has been pretty quiet. He hasn't been saying much.
I wonder why that is.
Probably because he didn't get to prank the soldiers.
Oh.
Yeah, he's grumpy.
Yeah,
Grumpy cleric.
it's like one of those things where like in the heat of the moment you couldn't think of what to say, but then it's only after that you're like, oh, I could have done this and I could have done this, and he's just been like beating himself up about it, like, damn. Right.
So yeah, we're probably sitting trying to figure out what the heck they mean by monster.
It's all kinds of crazy talk. Like, oh, it's a kraken, or no, it's just it's pirates, it's some sort of magic rot disease that's killing all of the ships, and they're all crashing out by the lighthouse out of the harbor. So it's really pick something, and someone's telling his tale. Like, one person is describing how he had gone out late in the evening and he saw a ship that was coming in that was out by the lighthouse, and you could see it get pulled under by these giant sucker tentacles, grabbing it and ripping the ship in half. And people are mildly entertained, but nobody.
So everyone knows something's wrong, but no one knows the cause of it. Is basically the gist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it possible I could get a feel for which version seems to be the most based in fact? They're all saying it.
So, sort of listening to all of the stories.
Sorry, my bad. Or no?
Yeah, you would. They're basically just kind of sitting and chilling. And you come back after like an hour or two or so. Yeah. Maybe 3. Before Velis. Velis isn't going to get back till the afternoon. I think you still have a quick errand to run. What you glean is that nobody seems to agree on what it is, but it's something that's out by the lighthouse. So the lighthouse is actually it's not directly in the harbor. It's actually out a ways from the harbor itself, kind of out a little bit to sea. There's a
it's not connected to the port by land at all.
Right, it's a few miles out.
It's like on an island or something.
Yeah, a little island.
Okay.
And there's basically like it's a family that's sort of lives out there. It's just the gist is nobody knows exactly what it is, but anything come and going has, like, a couple of ships that have left. They once they get out past the harbor and out by the lighthouse, just nobody hears from them again, and nothing has come in.
Okay. Well, that's worrying.
Right.
It's almost like the lighthouse is doing the exact opposite of what it's supposed to do.
Is the lighthouse stealing the ships?
Sounds like we should go check out.
Oh, there's some sort of triangle.
Portal to another dimension.
Guys, we're in the Feywild.
Well, we have until tomorrow if we want to try to figure out what's going on. But it's not much time.
Okay.
Better than sitting around.
Fair enough. There's a little dour here.
Lots of gloomy gusses.
Nothing else will get paid for.
No comment.
Okay.
But do we know where Velis went?
Speaking of which,
Weird notices that Velis isn't there.
Speak
Screen
of the devil.
to Velis, sort of walking
Sneaked out.
along the. Oh, he said no.
Speaketh of the darkness.
Right. He's gonna go do he said he was gonna go do a thing.
You're right,
All
but we don't know where he went. We just know he's
Right.
gone.
You just know he stepped out.
Nope.
Okay, so you're down at the docks, kind of standing in front of the building that the guy that Benji had indicated. It looks like it's just a trading company of some kind. There's a couple of people kind of like milling about. Generally, most people are human, and it's actually, again, still sort of a sunny, bright afternoon. So you're kind of like, cow up kind of thing. But nobody really seems to be paying you much mind.
Ah! It fell on my
Right.
face. There we go.
But the door's unlocked. There's a little sort of jingle as like a bell gets rung as the door opens. And you can see sort of a nondescript human man kind of sitting behind a desk, sort of a stack of papers and books and stuff. And he looks to be in the midst of some sort of paperwork or tabulation or calculation. And he kind of looks up at you. Can I help you?
Is that name Mikhail? Looking at
Yes.
notes.
Yeah, it was Mikhail.
Mikhail, I assume?
Yes. And he kind of like sits up a little bit straighter.
Just walk over and pull out the letter, hand it over. I believe we have a bit of business.
And he kind of like takes it, and then as soon as he sees the sort of note and the insignia kind of thing on it, you can see his posture relax a little bit. And he opens it and okay, yes. So he finally found a consultant to take care of the problem. Good. And he gets up and stands up and walks over to looks to be sort of a large cabinet, kind of takes out a key, unlocks it, opens it up, and you can see there's all sort of alchemical and herbal substances and stuff in there, and kind of goes through a couple of things and then pulls out kind of like a packet, turns around, closes it, locks it, turns around back to you, and kind of hands you the packet.
Take it, put it away.
By this point, it's obviously 4:20, right?
Not quite, but close. He kind of like gives you a nod and it doesn't seem to be a whole, like a really big conversationalist.
And the ledger. So I have some idea what I'm looking for.
Right. And he goes through some papers and stuff on the thing and pulls out a parchment and hands it to you. And it's an inventory of a number of various trade goods and stuff, descriptions of a few things. Mostly, actually, wine, a lot of barrels of wine. And then there's some textiles, and then a description of an iron strongbox.
Okay.
And then it just says that it's locked and sealed. Doesn't actually say what it is. It just says locked and sealed. But it looks pretty, shipping stuff, yeah.
I'll just look it over. Good enough then? Well, hopefully I will have some news soon.
He kind of just grunts in response and then sits back down to his thing and he pulls out like a pulls out a pocket watch, but they don't have pocket watches. He's doing some number crunching thing with, I don't know, do they have an abacuses?
Don't know why they wouldn't.
Yeah, something
Really?
like that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So he's doing something like that. Yeah, in some places, but he certainly wouldn't have a pocket watch. At least not him. Okay.
I guess just back to the inn.
Okay. So, on your way back, you notice there are a handful of humans that have sort of cornered a woman. She's tall, tan, sort of wearing an overcoat of some kind with like lots of brass buttons, has like a tricorn hat and like really shiny black boots. Very captain-y type looking person. And she's sort of, her body language is very like, her palms are out and she seems to like be negotiating. But there are a couple of like really rough looking, a human and a half orc. They're sort of kind of have her backed up against a wall as you're sort of walking back to the inn.
I'll get a little closer to see if I can hear anything, hand on a dagger, but not engage them yet. Kind of quietly veer a little closer.
Sure. Okay. So you get a little bit closer, and you can hear they seem to be arguing about like a dice game or something like that. You owe us, Sheila. Your ship is ours. Yeah, we know that you use weighted dice. That's a cheater. We caught you, witch. And as he says that, the half orc pulls out a pretty nasty looking knife.
Just walk up behind
like,
them.
Gentlemen, I mean, really, let's be reasonable here.
Are they standing close together?
Yeah, there's a couple of feet of distance between them, but they're reasonably close.
Okay.
So she sees you approaching behind them. Did you say you had like a hand on a blade?
Yes.
She makes eye contact with you very briefly, and then like immediately kind of launches into a very like she's trying to keep their attention as you walk up behind them.
Just gonna pull both daggers out, and if are they close enough for to each other for me to get around each of them, kind of dagger?
No, they're not that close. No, you could probably stick a blade at both of their backs, but like, and unless you're like planning on being like super stretch Armstrongy with your arms, you're not gonna
Well, if I could get a blade to both of their backs, that would be perfect. Just do that.
Yeah.
Drows are made of rubber.
Right.
Gentlemen, don't you think you are overreacting a little bit?
And the half orc is like immediately dropped his knife. But the human is kind of like he's got a little bit of a hunch, a little bit. He's like, she cheated us.
Cheating on a dice game, stealing a ship. I don't. That doesn't seem great to me.
She didn't steal our ship, and we're not stealing her ship. She put it up as a wager, fair and square. She cheated us. She owes us her ship. And she's like, shrugs a little bit.
A ship for a dice game seems a bit much. By all means, though, we can continue this if you'd like, but I don't think it's going to end very well for either one of you.
Make a perception check.
Oh no.
You have disadvantage, by the way. It's daylight out, and it's bright.
Fuck! Shit! I had a good and a bad, but the bad was first anyway, so 11.
Okay. You see the woman's eyes. She's gone from like, oh, okay, we got this. Then her eyes kind of like just go wide real quick. And you hear footsteps and sort of like a rattle behind you.
Oh, geez. Bellis, what are you getting yourself into?
Oh no! Fuck!
Oh no, Bellis is the new Hegan!
Okay, so
Can I like pivot with the dagger still pointed in their direction? Like,
yeah, you can look over your
Okay.
shoulder. You see 4 like thuggish looking humans. One of them's got like just a length of weighty chain that he's kind of like slowly like swinging back and forth. Another one has, it looks to be some sort of like belaying pin or something, and then the other 2 have crossbows pointed at you. And I think we'll call it right there for tonight. Because
it always ends with
it's
Bellis
midnight.
getting into shit.
At your time,
Yes.
and that seems like a really good time to just
I hate you.
hey, cliffhanger.
I hate you. I hate you. Why is it always when Bellis is getting into shit and we're gonna take weeks off every fucking time?
Well,
Is it really going to be that long?
I think
At least 2 weeks, right?
no, I think most people are available next week unless you aren't, Brendan.
Are we?
I will be available next weekend.
Yeah.
The weekend
Okay.
of the so next weekend, Friday, Saturday, and the weekend 23-24, I will be available.
Fucking shit basket.
But the weekend following, I will be out on a
Yeah,
work.
so
23, 24, most of us will be out.
so next
Okay.
weekend I can do, and 23, 24 I can't do.
Okay.
And the
Okay.
weekend after that I
Same.
All right, so why don't we
I hate everything.
plan on the 17th?
I only work till 5, so that's good.
Okay, yeah, because if
That's
we could
fine.
start a little bit earlier, because
Mother bitch.
because combat's going to be a little bit later. So I think that could work for
Yeah,
most
sounds
people.
good.
It's possible.
Cool.
I'll make a plan to be available on Saturday night.
St. Patrick's Day, everybody get drunk and let's kill stuff!
We still do an option. So we might actually
Drink some rum, kill some pirates.
Or Velis.
Well,
This is feeling my
or
like my
find
adventurous league.
Velis. Like,
Right,
at least
right,
Murray
I
is
mean,
wondering
yeah.
where Velis went now. Like,
right.
Yeah.
fucking
We
shit
might.
basket.
Thanks, mom friend.
We're gonna
Right.
be on
So,
internet speed next week.
So yeah, what I'll say is,
How many of them are there?
Don't go monster hunting without us.
there's
6.
there's 6. There's 6 of them. Yeah, the 2 that you're currently have your blades at, and then but then there's 4 sort of directly behind you.
That's nothing. He could have taken care of him.
I mean, I'm willing to. I'm gonna go with this. I will fucking fight them. We're fine.
Yeah,
This is fine.
sure.
This
all
is
good.
not fine.
All right.
Oh,
we
Thank
might
you
I think I
for
have
playing
a backup
tonight.
character, guys.
Thank you.
Oh please.
Thank you.
we might still have a rogue in a couple weeks.
Be fine.
Maybe.
Everything is fine. Hashtag everything is fine.
They're just pirates. How bad could it be?
Coming from the DM.
Why is the drow gone?
Why is the drow always gone?
I had shady shit to do, guys.
You did have shady shit to do, and you took care of the shady shit, and then as soon as you stuck your neck out to help some woman, and like
Oh.
I'm gonna be a nice person, it just never quite seems to work out for you.
It really doesn't.
No, well,
This is why you don't stick your neck out for.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's like
my
you know,
own business.
right. Oh, I'm gonna be sneaky, and I'm gonna be dark and evil. No, you're just a cinnamon roll that's really pointy. I mean,
You're just a shady cinnamon roll.
right,
That has never been
A
evil.
slightly
He's just
burnt
sort of vaguely
cinnamon roll.
shady.
right. No, I mean it's No, it was fun. We'll pick this up, and I'll have some stuff.
And I really hope
ready
that
to
we
go.
can do.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm thinking like this is probably, well after lunch at this point. And the rest of you in the inn are probably going stir crazy right after your meal, so I'm sure you start wandering, and we'll see.
No, I mean, like us physically, John and I hope.
Ooh.
We're gonna be out of town, so it depends on our internet
Oh,
connection
okay.
where we are.
Gotcha. Okay.
Grandpa, if we're staying at my grandpa's, if he has it set up, I have no idea. So yeah,
Gotcha.
we may or may not be here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's going to be a couple weeks after that are going to be really
Yeah.
hard for everyone
Yeah,
else.
Same.
so
Some cons and
hopefully
stuff.
I haven't actually asked my mom what's staying.
Yeah, Aaron, Maggie, and I all have a con the 23rd to the 25th. And then the weekend after that is Awesome Con, which I'm only going to one day of, but
Right.
Aaron's and my friend has a bachelorette party the Saturday night
Ah,
that I'm committed to because I'm in the wedding party.
Yeah, same.
Yes. So what's April look like for people? Because I think next week will probably be pretty good. So then we're just looking at April.
Next week is good. April is mostly good. The only thing I have is the wedding, but that's a Monday night, and the rehearsal dinner is the Sunday. So other than the Sunday, I'm good.
I know I have a con. I have a show on Saturday night of the 14th that a gig I have to do, and then I have a con the next weekend with my band. So
Everybody busy.
Oh, and then the Saturday after that, I've got Ukulele Fest at the Way Station. So, goddamn. So the last 3 Saturdays, I'll be out.
So we might not have an Aaron for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay, because we can actually just narratively make Cortanus continue to freak out.
Yeah,
Fucking fuck.
It works.
I'm still he's still trying to decide what he wants to do. Information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That is way worse than she was even expecting out of that conversation.
And we're still curious what the heck that was, but isn't going to prod. I think it's worth noting Wiria keeps wanting to ask Cortanus if everything's okay, but doesn't want to pry, and so is just sort of sitting there going, "Should I? No, I shouldn't. No, I shouldn't."
This is gonna be interesting.
I didn't even get to make my poison yet.
Oh, poor Vela.
You
I
poor,
wanted to go back to the hotel and make poison,
you
guys.
poor crusty cinnamon roll.
He's a shady cinnamon roll.
Burnt around the edges cinnamon roll. Blackened heart cinnamon roll.
Guys, he's basically Zevran.
Yeah, fair.
Come on. He's basically Zevran, I didn't do that on purpose. I just realized in the process of building him, I just had a moment where I went to Maggie and I went, oh my god, I just made Drow Zevran.
Fair.
And that happened. So yeah, I mean, to be fair, Zevran actually is pretty much a shady cinnamon.
Yes, that does
It
actually
kind of
describe
is.
Zevran very well. But yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, no, the last part of March is and the very beginning of April, it's stupid busy.
Yeah,
Between
these next couple months are
cons
just
and the
insane.
wedding. Cons and the wedding.
3 gigs,
I'm just gonna
3
freak
Saturdays
out
in a row.
Yeah, I don't have any gigs, but I do have cons and a wedding.
One of the gigs is a con, and then there's the same wedding and the same cons.
Until we get to your gigs, we have the same basic schedule for the next month.
Anyone want to come to the way station with me?
I'd love to, but I don't think I can afford that trip.
Alas.
what even is that? I have no idea.
It's a nerdy Doctor Who bar in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Their bathroom is a TARDIS.
I heard about that place. I want to go there.
It's a fun
But
place.
New York
They have
is
some
far.
good. They have some good
New York
booze
is
too.
far.
I'd love to,
It's
but
very
you
far.
know, trips.
Alas.
Also,
That's too
work
far
is
for
like
me.
work is cuckoo pants lately.
Mm.
Like to the point where I told my boss that there were next 2 days I've taken off. I've already requested off, and you've approved. I cannot cancel. There is no way I'm canceling. Like, I was hilariously adamant, and he was like, "That's fine." I'm like, "I know, but I'm just making sure you're aware that there is no way."
Yes, good.
Because one of them is regen, which I'm selling at, so I really can't.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
cancel that. And then the other one is for the wedding, which I really can't. One of them is
Yeah,
regen,
no.
which I'm selling at, so
Who's
I
getting
really
married?
can't. Rin and Evan, you've
Oh, okay. I know who they are. I know
Yeah.
who they are.
I was
Have you
gonna
met-
ask,
have you met
I feel
Evan?
like I've met enough of.
I met Evan.
Thanks, everybody.
You haven't met Rin.